This is Omar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. We moved on from New York. We're now in the fight capital of the world, MGM Grand Las Vegas. I'm joined by the exclusive promoter of Dimitri Bivol, Frank Smith.
Mate, I've had a touch. Got 5% now, so I'm going to go and put it all on red. No, it's good to be here in Vegas. Great week last week, and great to be here. Representing Dimitri Bivol.
Absolutely. Would you say this is the biggest fight you've done in the US? It's your first pay-per-view fight, so.
Yeah, look, I think we've had some huge nights in the US. I think Canelo against Billy Joe was obviously a massive night as well at the Stadium. That was a great night, breaking the indoor record there. But huge pay-per-view show, and really our big mega fight solely promoted by Matchroom in Vegas this time. So it's good, and to see where we come from, over the years, just these little English promoters to come and be promoting, the pound for pound number one star in the sport. It's great to see.
Yeah, of course, your business at the start was British focused only. Is it difficult because you've had this venture with DAZN into America, invested a lot of time and money in the American market? I'm not saying you've neglected the British market, but is it difficult to manage the British market as well and also invest and pump so much money into the American side of things?
No, I think, look, ultimately our aim is to push the sport on a global scale. We want to take boxing to another level. We're focused as much as we were before on the UK. It doesn't change our mindset. We're working tirelessly. We've got 19, 20 shows a year in the UK. We've got 10 or 12 here. We've got Mexico, Italy, Spain. It's just, it doesn't stop. But it doesn't mean we take our eye off the ball there. We're consistently working on plans of what's next. It was always, US was always going to be a lot more difficult because we were coming in here as the new guys, both us and DAZN. And we had to start from zero, really, at that point. We'd done a couple of shows with HBO. But I think for us, nothing changes. We've got a huge team of people. We've grown from 3 or 4 people back in the day to then it went to 8, 10, 15. Now we're at 30 odd people around the world.
You've got too many people.
Eddie thinks so. I keep getting in trouble for hiring people, but look, it's the only way. Our big push now is obviously new markets, moving into new territories, and also growing the Matchroom brand as well. Because if we can do that, it's good for the sport of boxing.
I'm sure Canelo Alvarez is certainly going to help with that coming up this Saturday night. We know he's a massive draw on pay-per-view, performed really well. This is DAZN's first pay-per-view fight, so considering that, how do you think this performs on Saturday night, Frank?
I think, it's going to do strong numbers. Canelo is really the only pay-per-view star in the US who can headline pay-per-view cards time and time again. I'm not saying there's not other pay-per-view fights, but it has to be 2 relevant big names. Bivol, although a great fighter, he's not a huge name. But Canelo is the draw who delivers massive pay-per-view numbers, and it's a bit like AJ in the UK. AJ is that name in the UK who can deliver huge pay-per-view numbers against anyone. We're looking forward to it. And it's great because DAZN just gives them the opportunity to compete for those biggest fights. Because when it was just a $20 subscription, it's hard to compete when you got Showtime or ESPN doing a fight at $80. Obviously it doesn't take a genius to work out the numbers in that, hard to put together. It's good, and I think you're going to see a great night Saturday.
Well, I know you say Bivol isn't a massive global name right now, but once Frank Smith gets behind him, things are going to change.
Yeah, I feel like this is really going to change the direction of his career. Since he's just announced me as his exclusive promoter. I'll be in the corner with him on Saturday night. So if he gets the result, I'll be jumping over the ropes with him, giving him a hug, and I'll just be looking at Edward over there. And I'm sure he won't be happy with me. But we've had a great relationship with Dimitri Bivol, and he's wanted this fight for a long, long time. So I'm glad we could deliver it for him.
Just to go back to Eddie, what on earth was he wearing on that golf course the other day? And also, did you really get a hole in one?
So we got to the golf course at 6:45 a.m. He turned up in a Barstool Sports hoodie and a pair of running shorts, and it was quite a posh golf course, and I don't think they were going to let him play. So he ended up in these mint blue or light blue shorts, which were actually all right, and this dodgy floral top. Cost $250 for the two. Not the best look I've ever seen, but it suited him better this time because he's much more skinny now. When he was a bit chunky, it wasn't. There you can hear him shouting in the background. When he was a bit chunky, I'm not sure it would have looked quite as good as it did. Did I get a hole in one? This is very much up for debate. I believe as a crap golfer, my hole-in-one counts as a hole-in-one. I'll give you the story. Hit a ball, went into the woods, got a new ball out the bag. So with the new ball, it took me one shot with the new ball to get it into the hole. That to me is a hole-in-one. I'm not saying I didn't par the hole. You know, there's been a lot of arguments. Eddie, Sal, they're saying it's a par. And why can't you just let someone enjoy themselves? I've done something that not many people have done in life, and just feel like they're trying to take this moment away from me.
Well, let us know in the comments if it was a hole-in-one. I'm not sure we've got too many golf experts in the IFL subscriber base, but you never know. Do you guys regret a little bit the way you came into the American market with DAZN and said pay-per-view is dead at a certain price point, but now you're launching pay-per-view? Do you look back on it and think we should have done that slightly different, Frank, or not?
I think for the right fight, the problem was they were doing so many pay-per-view fights that just weren't delivering numbers at $70 or $80. And for those fights, yes, pay-per-view isn't working. It's not working. It's not going to, long term, it's not going to grow the sport. For someone like Canelo Alvarez, who delivers numbers time and time again, as I said, you know, it's always going to be there, is the truth. You know, so do we regret saying pay-per-view is dead? I mean, at the time, that was the subscription, that was the push that was made. Now, to compete with the biggest fights, then we need to do it. But it's about delivering great high-level content as part of the subscription platform as well, which we're doing. So, you know, fights. There's so many fights on pay-per-view now that shouldn't be on there, in truth, and even back then as well. So it's just a case of having the right fights, which are value for money.
I think Eddie spoke about this quite passionately before. Fox and Showtime do a lot of pay-per-views. I guess you're alluding to those fights where sometimes we see a big draw like a Gervonta Davis headline it, but the opponent might not be too much of note. So is that kind of those fights you're alluding to where we see constant pay-per-views from Fox and Showtime?
Yeah, I even think it would like Tyson Fury against Dillian-Whyte, a fight at 5 o'clock in the afternoon between two British fighters on a US pay-per-view at $80. I'm not taking anything away from it. It's a great fight. But is it $80 worth at 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Probably not, let's be honest. And, you know, that's the issue, is fights like that. And like you say, maybe Gervonta Davis against a name you don't know. Canelo Alvarez, as I said, is probably the only name who can go in pay-per-view against anyone. The good thing is with Canelo Alvarez is he'll fight the best time and time again. So there's never a question of him fighting the best. It's not like I'm just going in for a payday. Like when you look at payday. But when you look at his last run of fights, who could you say in there was let's be honest, Yildirim mandatory fight, but you know he went in there and did what he had to do. So you know, I'd say it's about the fighters and the fights being relevant and value for money ultimately.
You mentioned the Fury-Whyte pay-per-view in the American side of things. We haven't heard any confirmation of numbers on the UK or US side of things. Have you heard? I know nothing to do with it, but you're in boxing. A lot of people talk. Have you heard anything about how that performed on BT Sport box office? No,
I haven't. You know, it's surprising. Normally they come out all guns blazing, saying we broke all records, blah blah blah. So it was a massive fight when it came round. Do I think, like, knowing the numbers involved in that fight to make it happen? You know, even with our purse bid that we put in, you know, the numbers they would have had to have hit just to break even are huge. And I don't believe they would have done those types of numbers. I personally think they might have done 700,000 buys, which isn't bad. I think it would have done a lot more buys on Sky Sport because they are, like, you know, I think they would have done more buys. They obviously, Sky pushed it hard as well, but in the US, I can't see how it did more than 20,000 buys. And that's not because it wasn't a big fight, but again, it comes back to the point of $80. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, the only kind of thing we've heard is actually today, Frank Warren made some comments saying Fury-Whyte brought more revenue in than Joshua-Klitschko. So what are your thoughts on that?
How does he know how much revenue Joshua-Klitschko brought in? I don't know how much revenue Fury-Whyte brought in. I don't think there's many people who know how much revenue Joshua-Klitschko brought in than the guy standing there, me, and a couple of people who work for AJ and a couple of people who work for Klitschko. So, you know, it's all good fun. He can say what he wants.
Well, Frank, just close us out, please. Why should people in America purchase this pay-per-view live on DAZN, Canelo Bivol, and obviously around the world, it's just on your normal DAZN subscription. I'm not sure in all territories, but in the UK it certainly is. So why should everyone tune in?
Because I think Canelo, pound for pound, #1 star in the sport, time and time again, has always gone above and beyond to create a legacy for himself. Dimitri Bivol, #1 175-pound fighter in the world, has held his title for a long time. He's the defending champion. I think people are writing him off here, but I think he can give Canelo Alvarez a real challenge, and I think it's going to be a great night on Saturday. So tune in. I haven't finished, mate. DAZN pay-per-view in the USA and DAZN for the rest of the world. Enjoy.
Thank you very much for your time here in Las Vegas, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your trip. Look forward to a great fight on Saturday. Cheers, mate.
Welcome, Team Everlast, to the Team Everlast Fitness app. Download the Everlast Fitness app and find your greatness within.